What if I told you that video marketing, specifically YouTube, is one of the biggest and best opportunities for mortgage loan officers to get purchase leads, especially in this market? And in this video, we're going to go over the 7 best tips that you need to know before you start video marketing. First is cut out your intro, and this is something that I did for the longest time whenever I first started. But what happens when you put your intro in the front? A lot of people say it's for brand awareness and to create brand awareness, but what actually happens is people start clicking away. More people click away from that intro, and that kills the reach of your video, the potential reach that YouTube will push it out to more people that are looking to move to your area. So in reality, it actually hurts your brand awareness because since more people click off, YouTube doesn't show it to as many people, so as many people don't get the opportunity to reach out to you about buying a home in your area. So instead, get into the value of the video as soon as possible, and if you do that, your audience retention will be higher and YouTube will like that. Obviously, YouTube wants more people to stay on their platform longer, so if the audience retention is higher, then they're going to push that video out to more people. The second mistake that people make is putting the call to action at the front of their video, and I did this again for the longest time. A lot of these mistakes I've made myself, but you actually want to put that call to action, that being you telling them to reach out if they want to find out more about buying a home in your area. You want to put that call to action about 40% of the way, 35 to 40% of the way into the video. That way they have gotten some value first, and when you give that call to action, they're more likely, one, to take action and less likely to click away. Again, if you put that call to action at the beginning of your video, you're causing a lot of people to click away at the very beginning, especially if you put intro and call to action right next to each other. That's going to cause even more people to click away, and it's going to kill your reach on your video. Tip number 3 is put the audience first. And what I mean by this is talk about things that they want to know about. And any good mortgage loan officer would know that the mortgage isn't what people want, they want the home, right? The mortgage that you offer is a necessary thing that they need to get that home, but they necessarily don't want it, right? So if you're gonna do video marketing and you want to get as many leads as possible, talk about what they want, right? So best areas to live in, best neighborhoods, home tours, things like that, things that people are actually going to want to know about, and then they reach out to you and say, hey, I want to buy a home in this neighborhood, and you can be like, okay, sure, let me get the process started for you. Then you can send that lead onto a realtor that you work with, and you could even use this to build new realtor relationships. But just remember that nobody cares about the process of applying for the mortgage or anything like that. What people want and what people care about is the home and buying the home. So show them in neighborhoods and areas and cities, right? So show them what they want to see and then give them what they need when they reach out to you. Tip number 4 is a tip that I actually did from the very beginning, but it was by accident, and it was one of the best things that I've ever done, and that's start narrow and then go broad. What I mean by that is start with just one city or one area that you're going to make videos about, and just keep making videos about it. Pros and cons of living here, best areas, neighborhood tours, cost of living, everything about that area, and just build a huge catalog of videos about that area. So then, and it's recommended that you pick an area that most people are going to want to move to. So for me, it was Nashville, right? So I wouldn't make a video about Brentwood or Franklin or Murfreesboro at first. I would just keep hitting Nashville. And most people, when they want to move to the area, whether they're wanting to move to Brentwood, Franklin, Nashville, Hendersonville, which are areas around Nashville, they would type in living in Nashville, Tennessee, or moving to Nashville, Tennessee, and then they would pick one of those areas around. So I just hit Nashville over and over and over again, probably for too long, to be honest. And then I started to expand out. So I made videos about living in Murfreesboro, living in Hendersonville, Brentwood, Franklin. And then all of a sudden, I just started, like literally within 2 weeks, started to get a ton more leads, because now not only am I getting people looking for Nashville, but I'm getting people looking for the areas around too. The reason that you don't want to start out all over the place is because it takes a while for YouTube to learn what your channel is about. And if YouTube doesn't know what your channel is about, then it's not going to be able to push your videos to the right audience. So starting out with just one city over and over again, then YouTube has a really good understanding of what your channel is about, and it gives you a big backlog of videos that YouTube can recommend after they watch some of your other videos. Because cost of living in Nashville, What's a great video to follow that up with? Maybe pros and cons of living in Nashville, best areas, best neighborhoods, right? Neighborhood tours of Nashville. So whichever area you're in, find the state, or not the state, but the city that most people would search for whenever they're looking to move that to that area, and make about 15 to 20 videos just about that city. And then after, YouTube's gonna have a pretty good idea of, at that point, what your channel's about. Then you can start actually making some videos about cities and areas outside of that. And then from there, you can even go statewide. Like, I made a video most recently about best places to live in Tennessee, and it is my best performing video so far. And by the way, if you're getting any value from this, we help mortgage loan officers get 3 to 5 new loans in the next 90 days. And if you want to learn more about how that works, I've left a link down in the description. Tip number 5 is show, don't tell. And basically what this means is use B-roll on your videos. B-roll is, as I'm talking, there's a video clip showing you kind of what I'm talking about. So if you're talking about a specific neighborhood, have some videos of that neighborhood. If you're talking about an area, have some videos of that area, or the city, right? Just as you're talking, have something that they can watch, because then you're hitting two senses from the viewer. They're watching and they're listening, and it's going to increase retention. As we went over before, the higher the retention, the more YouTube likes that video, the more they're going to push it out. So if you're talking about how bad potholes are, which is something I talk about frequently in Nashville, put a video of a car hitting a pothole if you can find any. And essentially, retention is a super important part of any video marketing, but especially on YouTube. The higher the retention, the more YouTube's going to push it out. So B-roll is a proven way to increase your retention. Tip number 6 is a mistake that I made forever, and I gotta admit I still make it sometimes, is you need to make your title and thumbnail first, because the title, or the thumbnail rather, is the first thing that they see on YouTube. That's the image that you see whenever you're scrolling. That's what catches their attention first. Then they look at the title, and then if the combination of those two interests them enough, then they're gonna click and watch, right? And then at that point it becomes, you know, making sure your hook is good, retention is high, that sort of thing. But the title and thumbnail, most of every video creator, they make the video first, and then they just throw together the title and thumbnail like really quick at the end because they're super tired. And even if you have the best video in the world, if the thumbnail is not good enough to get them to click, then it's not going to perform. So you could literally have the best video that has ever been made about this topic, and if the title and the thumbnail are not good enough, it will not do good. And you can have a subpar video beat better videos if they have a better thumbnail and title. So the reason you want to start with a thumbnail and title is you want to focus on that first click first, and then make the video, because the introduction, the hook to the video needs to reinforce the title and thumbnails to keep them watching. It's a little complicated, I'm not going to get into it, but essentially focus on the title and the thumbnail first, and make that as good as you can, and create as much curiosity and intrigue as you can in that. And once you have got a winning thumbnail and title, then you can make a great video to put behind it. And tip number 7 that I have for you, and this is something I discovered by accident, but it is changing the pacing of your videos depending on the target audience of who you want to watch it. So for example, you'll notice a lot of my videos are kind of cut up into quick chunks, right? It's not a lot of uhs and ums and buts in there. It's because the target audience that I'm expecting to watch the videos, they're probably used to not too fast of content like the 16-year-olds are watching, like literally every second needs to have something or they're clicking away, but also not too slow, because then it just gets too boring. But what I noticed in my first real estate channel is that the videos where I didn't really edit all those pauses out and I just kind of talked to the camera for a long time, those videos attracted more of an older audience. And then the ones where I cut up really into really quick bits, that attracted a younger audience. So on my channel I did some residential as well as apartments, because in Nashville we get paid pretty good for apartment locating as well. So the apartment videos I would make really quick, and then the residential videos I would make kind of slower, because when people are looking to relocate to another state, usually they're probably mid to late 30s. There's some exceptions, obviously, but mid to late 30s, early 40s, those are always easier to work with. But think about who is going to be watching your video, what age range, what kind of videos that they are used to watching, and you can change your pacing according to that. And again, if you want to learn how we help mortgage loan officers build a huge purchase-based pipeline, then click the link below, just fill in that info. We'll reach out and give you some more info. But if you're really serious about building a purchase-based pipeline in this market, then you definitely want to check out this video where we go over what could be the best marketing idea for mortgage loan officers in 2022 going forward into 2023. So until then, I'll catch you later.